6 months. 6 months from the big day, white dress, vows, tiny overpriced cupcakes, and somehow, I was the only one at this table not losing my mind. We were at her favorite sushi place, the one where they play lo-fi music and serve sashimi on what I'm 90% sure is recycled driftwood. I was halfway through my second piece of overpriced raw fish when she dropped it. "So I've decided on Vegas for my bachelorette week-long trip," Delilah said, as casually as if she were announcing a dentist appointment. I blinked. "Sounds fun. Who's going?" She smiled. "Oh, just me and Owen." I paused, fork midair, like someone had hit the pause button on my soul. "Owen," I repeated, in that tone people use when they find a raccoon in their kitchen. "Just you two." She rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd spin off the table. "Don't start." "Start what?" "I'm just confirming that your idea of a bachelorette party is a romantic getaway for two with your straight male best friend." "He's my best friend, Asher. We've been friends since college. You know this." "Yes, I know this," I said, nodding. "Just like I know milk expires, and yet I still sniff it every time just to be sure." She leaned back in her chair, arms crossed like a defensive linebacker. "This is exactly why I didn't want to tell you. I knew you'd make it weird." "I'm not making it weird. Vegas. One hotel room, poolside cocktails, neon lights and—" "Owen, this is weird." "Says who?" She shot back. "It's my party. I can celebrate however I want." "Oh, totally," I said. "Of course. Who am I to get in the way of a sacred bachelorette tradition involving blackjack, body shots, and your one-on-one soul mate who just happens to have a penis?" She scoffed. "Owen and I have been planning this trip forever." I blinked again. "Planning it forever? That's odd. Because in our weekly wedding planning meetings, where we discuss boring things like our future, not once did you mention the Owen Vegas spectacular. Because I knew you'd react like this." "Like what?" "Like a guy who thinks maybe your fiancé shouldn't dry hump the strip with her quote-unquote brother." She threw up her hands. "Look, Owen is basically like a brother to me. Nothing has ever happened between us." "Oh, great. So we're going with the Game of Thrones definition of brother." "Cool. Good to know. You need to trust me," she said, eyes narrowing. "It's not about trust," I said, pinching the bridge of my nose. "It's about respect. Like, how would you feel if I went on a week-long bachelor party with just one woman? Let's say, Tammy from accounting. You know, my soul sister with the six-pack abs and a laugh like wind chimes." She actually laughed. Like full-on tee-hee, hand on chest, sitcom laugh. "That's different." "How?" I asked, genuinely curious what dimension we'd entered. "Because I trust you." "Ah," I nodded. "So when you trust me, it's feminism. When I ask questions, it's a symptom of toxic masculinity." "Clearly, you don't trust me," she said. "Delilah, this isn't about trust. This is about boundaries. Like the invisible fence between engaged and Vegas with Owen." Her expression went cold. Like Arctic-level cold. Like, hope you packed a snowsuit for this dinner cold. "I'm going on this trip, Asher. It's already booked. Owen took time off work. This is happening. And if I'm not comfortable with it." She shrugged like I had asked if she wanted the last piece of edamame. "Then deal with it. I'm not canceling my trip because you're insecure." "Insecure, Delilah? Any reasonable person would have an issue with this." "Well, then I guess I need someone less reasonable," she said, stabbing a piece of sashimi with the confidence of a woman who just threw a grenade and walked away. "This is who I am, Asher. I have male friends. I'm not changing that for you or anyone else." The conversation didn't just go in circles, it pirouetted like a drunk ballerina. Every time I voiced a concern, I got slapped with a label: controlling, jealous, insecure. Honestly, it was like talking to a gaslighting Pinterest board. By the end, she practically handed me an ultimatum wrapped in smugness. Accept it or leave. So I smiled. Not a real smile. A customer service smile. "Fine," I said, keeping my voice even. "Have fun on your trip." She lit up like she'd just won an argument with the YouTube comment section. "See? Was that so hard?" I smiled wider. "Not at all." Inside, I was screaming. Outside, calm as a monk. That night, I stared at the ceiling like it owed me money. I wasn't tossing and turning over whether to call off the wedding. That train had already left the station, and surprise, it was derailed somewhere between hell no and over my dead body. No, I was thinking about how I wanted this to go down. I could just call it off. Return the ring. Cancel the caterers. But that felt too clean, too dignified. She wanted smug? Okay, let's get creative. The next morning, I brewed my coffee with the same intensity of villain monologues within a mirror. Then I pulled out my phone and dialed the guy at the center of Delilah's totally platonic, totally not absurd Vegas vacation. "Owen," I said when he picked up. "It's Asher." "Oh, hey man," he replied, all chipper. What's up? Heard about the Vegas trip. Sounds fun. I forced a friendly chuckle. Yeah, Delilah said you were cool with it. Totally cool, he said, like he was doing me a favor. In fact, I'm planning my own bachelor party for the same week. Oh cool, cool, I said, nodding like this was a TED Talk on how to be a complete jackass. Where you guys going? Still figuring it out. I leaned back in my chair, stirring my coffee like a man with a plan. Hey, quick question. Shoot. Is Gabriella still single? Silence. Like I'd hit mute on his soul. Now, for context, Gabriella is Owen's ex. But not just any ex. Gabriella is the Mexican-Italian firecracker with a body that made traffic slow down. Like, if curves were currency, she'd be funding the national debt. Legs for days. Lips that looked permanently kiss-ready. But, sculpted by angels with nothing but prayer and squats. Hot, hot, and very hot. She broke up with Owen 'cause he was an idiot. He finally croaked. Gabriella? My ex-Gabriella. Yeah, I said casually. Haven't seen her in forever. Thought I might invite her to my party. You know, since we're all just friends and stuff. Silence again. I imagined his expression and it tasted better than coffee. I mean, I added, all innocence, she's a good friend. Practically like a sister to me. And then, I went in for the kill. You wouldn't have a problem with that, right? Asher, that's different. Owen stammered, like he was trying to rewrite reality mid-sentence. I tilted my head. How so? You know why. Enlighten me. Gabriella and I have history, he said, like he was confessing to a felony. Oh, and you and Delilah don't? All those late-night study sessions in college. That spring break trip to Cancun. Nothing happened on that trip. I'm not saying it did, I said sweetly. Just like nothing's going to happen with me and Gabriella. We're all adults here, right? Just good friends bonding over tequila and trust. Owen went quiet. Long quiet. Like contemplating his life choices quiet. Then he asked, does Delilah know you're inviting Gabriella? Not yet. Wanted to run it by you first. You know, friend to friend. I don't think that's a good idea, man. I feigned surprise. Why not? If you trust Delilah, and Delilah trusts me, then what's the issue? I mean, Gabriella's practically like a sister to me. A very hot, yoga-toned, occasionally available on Instagram sister. Totally normal. More silence. So much silence I could hear his brain buffering. Then came the classic dodge. I gotta go. Talk later. Click. I smiled. Not a regular smile. A slow, villain origin story smile. Then I made my next call. Gabriella? Hey, it's Asher. Beat. Yeah. Delilah's fiance. No, I didn't die, just buried under floral centerpiece decisions. There was a pause, then a warm chuckle on the other end. God, I forgot how her laugh could fill a room. Or a phone line. Listen, I said, trying not to sound like I was plotting an international scandal. Weird question. I explained the whole thing. Delilah's solo Vegas adventure for two. The Owen is like a brother's speech, the you're just insecure TED Talk. Gabriella didn't just laugh, she howled. A full 60 seconds of unfiltered cackling. Wait, she said, catching her breath. She's doing a week-long bachelorette party with just Owen in Vegas? Yep. And she doesn't see why that's weird? Nope. Apparently, I'm just being insecure and controlling. Possibly also the Zodiac killer. It's unclear. Gabriella snorted. Holy, okay, I'm in. And then, like the universe itself was handing me a gift wrapped in petty and dipped in poetic justice, she said it. When do we leave? Turns out Gabriella had a little, unfinished business with dear Owen. Apparently, their fairy tale romance didn't exactly end with birds chirping and mutual closure. Nope. He'd been texting Delilah behind Gabriella's back for months before the breakup. Shocking, I know. Who would have thought Owen was a walking red flag wrapped in cargo shorts? So yeah, when I told Gabriella what was going down, she practically ordered popcorn. Said this felt like poetic justice. And I started scheming like a man with a mission and unlimited Wi-Fi. First step, group chat. I created one called Operation Lake Chaos and dropped in all my boys and Gabriella. All right, guys, I typed. Bachelor party is officially same week as Delilah's. Thinking cabin by the lake. Bonfires. Beers. Maybe some aggressive paddleboarding. Instant response. Josh responded, bro, that sounds sick. I haven't been to the lake in forever. Mark texted, I'm in. Someone bring Esmores, or I walk. Gabriella chimed in, anything for the groom-to-be. I'll be your designated driver. I even promised to drive mostly sober. I made sure to subtly scream it from the rooftops on social media. Nothing too obvious. Just a chill post. So grateful for my epic crew helping plan this unforgettable lake week. Special thanks to Gabriella for stepping up big time. Feeling lucky. Hashtag blessed, hashtag just friends, hashtag definitely not petty. That evening, Owen's text lit up my phone like a guilty conscience. Owen texted, "Dude, we need to talk." Me, "About what?" Owen, "This thing with Gabriella. It's not cool." Me, "What thing?" "She's just coming to my bachelor party." Owen, "Lots of people know what you're doing." Me, "Having a party with friends?" "Yeah, guilty. It's inappropriate." Me, "Foul. You know how." Me, "Spell it out for me." He didn't. No follow-up. Just silence. The universal sound of someone realizing their house of glass has a lot of windows. 2 days later, the storm hit. Delilah came home from work with the energy of a woman who just found out her favorite reality TV villain made it to the finale. She slammed the door like punctuation. "Gabriella? Really?" I looked up from my laptop. "What about her? You invited her to your bachelor party?" "Yeah. She's a friend." "Problem?" She narrowed her eyes. "Don't play dumb. You did this to get back at me." I put a hand to my chest, feigning shock. "Get back at you? For what? I thought we were cool with each other having friends of the opposite sex. Isn't that what you said, like, 9 speeches ago?" "This is different." "How?" I asked, standing up and walking over with an award-worthy confused expression. "She's Owen's ex." "So? They broke up years ago. Ancient history. Besides," I added with a smirk, "Gabriella and I are just friends." I smiled at her, all innocent-like, and said, "We're practically siblings. I mean, if you dress me up, shave my legs, toss a little makeup on me, I could pass for Gabriella. Minus the shapely butt, juicy lips, and phenomenal boobs, of course." Her glare could have melted steel. I leaned in. "Come on. You trust me, don't you?" "You're being petty," she snapped. "Oh no," I said, feigning shock. "I'm just following your rules. You said it was totally fine to travel with opposite-sex friends. I'm just doing what you're doing." "It's not the same." "Explain how." She opened her mouth, and nothing came out. It was like watching someone reboot mid-sentence. Then she stormed off, grabbed her overnight bag like she was auditioning for a soap opera, and left to stay at her sister's place. Peace and quiet. And snacks I didn't have to share. The next morning, my phone buzzed. "Owen." "Predictable." "All right, man." He sighed the moment I answered. "You made your point." "My point?" I asked, blinking innocently into my cereal. "What point would that be?" "Look, maybe the whole Vegas thing isn't." He paused, searching for the words like they were behind the couch cushions. "Maybe we should include more people." "Oh, now you want to include more people." I stirred my cereal slowly, like I was meditating. "I'm trying to be reasonable here." "Reasonable," I repeated, like I was learning a new word. Interesting. When I expressed concerns, I was being insecure, jealous, and probably emotionally stunted. But you have concerns, and suddenly you're Gandhi with a phone plan. "It's not. Can we just talk about this?" "Sure. Come over tonight. Bring Delilah." They showed up at 7 p.m. on the dot. Delilah had her arms crossed so tightly I thought she was trying to keep her soul from escaping. Owen looked like a kid who'd just knocked over the class terrarium. Perfect. I poured drinks with all the smug grace of a man who's memorized the definition of hypocrisy. "So," I said, setting the glasses down, "what's the issue?" Delilah wasted no time. "You know what the issue is. You're trying to manipulate the situation." "Manipulate?" I blinked. "Delilah, I'm planning a bachelor party just like you planned your bachelorette party. With friends. Mine just happens to include Owen's ex. The same way your party just happens to include a friend who's also your ex-hookup. We never hooked up." They both snapped at once. A little too quickly. I raised an eyebrow. "Right. That spring break trip to Cancun was totally platonic." They exchanged a look. Delilah's face went red. "That was before I even met you," Delilah snapped, face still glowing like a radioactive cherry tomato. I held up my hands. "Not judging. Just pointing out the hypocrisy, sweetheart. If we're gonna run a circus, let's at least admit who's wearing the clown shoes." Owen leaned forward, hands folded like he was at a peace summit. "Look, Asher, I get it. You're upset about the Vegas trip, but this thing with Gabriella is exactly the same situation." I cut in. "You're going on a week-long trip with someone you have history with. I'm going on a trip with a group that includes someone you have history with. If one's okay, both are okay." "It's not the same," Delilah insisted, grinding the words out like she was chewing glass. "Cool," I said, leaning back. "Then explain the difference. Without using a double standard. Bonus points if you can do it without saying, it's just different." They tried. Oh, they tried. For 20 full minutes, the two of them fumbled through logic like toddlers with a Rubik's Cube. Every argument they threw at me boomeranged back and smacked them square in the ego. "She's your ex. Owen's your maybe not ex. She's hot. You invited Owen to Vegas, not a nun." It was a masterclass in Olympic-level mental gymnastics. Finally, Owen sighed, probably realizing this wasn't going to end in a group hug. What if we compromise? He said. Shorten the trip to a weekend, invite more people? I shook my head slowly. That ship has sailed. No lifeboats. Just flaming wreckage and the sound of double standards sinking. They both looked confused, so I spelled it out for them. You made it very clear that I was being unreasonable for having concerns. That I needed to suck it up and deal with it. So I am. By planning my own trip. By your logic, I'm doing nothing wrong. You're doing this out of spite, Delilah snapped. No, I said, calmly sipping my drink. I'm doing this out of fairness. Equal rules for both of us. And then she hit me with the big one. The dramatic, movie trailer line. If you go on this trip with her, we're done. I laughed. Out loud. Not a chuckle. A full belly laugh, like she'd just told me she was joining the circus as a fire-breathing psychic. Delilah, I said, wiping my eye. We're already done. You made that pretty clear the moment you dismissed everything I said and told me to just deal with it. Her face went white. Like vampire doing a face mask white. What? I pulled out my phone, opened the email app, and scrolled until I found the receipts. Literal ones. Here, I said, turning the screen around. I've already contacted the venue, the caterers, everyone. Wedding's canceled. She blinked. You can't be serious. Dead serious. You showed me exactly how much my feelings matter to you. How much respect you have for this relationship. I slipped the ring off and set it on the table between us. I need my ring back. Asher, wait, she said, voice shaking. Let's talk about this. Owen jumped in, noble as ever. I got and said, we did talk. Multiple times. I was told I was being insecure and controlling. That I needed to trust her. I nodded. And trust goes both ways. And respect. I met Delilah's teary gaze. Respect is non-negotiable. Delilah started crying. You're throwing away 3 years over one trip? I stood up. No. I'm ending a relationship where my partner thinks it's acceptable to dismiss my concerns and do whatever she wants, regardless of how I feel. The trip just showed me who you really are. I'll cancel it, she blurted out suddenly, like that was supposed to be some grand olive branch. I'll cancel the trip now. Right. Now. After all this. After the yelling, the gaslighting, the emotional Olympics I've had to run. You're canceling it because you're facing consequences? I said, cool as a cucumber in an air-conditioned courtroom. Not because you understand why it was inappropriate in the first place. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out. Just that slack-jawed silence you get when someone realizes their usual tricks aren't working anymore. It's been 3 months since I called off the wedding. The fallout? Oh, it was theatrical. Shakespeare meets Bravo-level drama. Delilah went through the whole breakup apocalypse starter pack. First came the anger phase, blowing up my phone like she was reenacting Apocalypse Now, jungle soundtrack and all, complete with verbal napalm. Then came the surprise office visits, like an unpaid intern with rage issues, and my personal favorite, telling anyone who'd listened that I was a controlling psycho who ruined her life over jealousy. Honestly, the performance deserved an award, at least a People's Choice. When that didn't work, she rolled into bargaining mode like a late-stage politician polling at 3%. Suddenly she was promising to cancel the trip, go to couples therapy, attend emotional intelligence, workshops, whatever I wanted. But here's the thing. It was never about the trip. Not really. It was about respect. About having a partner who actually gives a damn about how you feel when making decisions. Who doesn't wave away valid concerns with phrases like, you're just being insecure. Who doesn't weaponize trust like it's a debate tactic. If you trusted me. Yeah, that line still makes my eye twitch. In the end, canceling the wedding cost me around $2,800 in deposits. The venue, caterer, florist, even the damn napkin embossing. Why did we need our initials on napkins anyway? Who was going to frame them? But let me tell you something. Worth every penny for the education it provided. 3 months later. Owen and Delilah? Yeah, they're together now. Officially started dating about a month after the breakup. Isn't that adorable? Funny how that brother-sister bond evolved so fast once she was single. Must have missed that plot twist in the family drama. And here's the best part. I went on the trip anyway. Just me and Gabriella. Caribbean. Ocean. Cocktails. Pure therapeutic chaos. We treated it like the final trip before a terminal diagnosis. Sunburns, sunsets, and laughter that sounded like freedom. I posted photos on Instagram, me in shades, drink in hand, peace signs like I was running for mayor of Pettyville. Gabriella? She wore bikinis so microscopic they could have been confiscated by airport security as suspicious objects. I'm pretty sure 3 international decency treaties were broken and at least one old man dropped his coconut when she walked by. No captions needed. The message was loud and crystal clear. The passive-aggressive likes from Delilah's friend group were priceless. And yeah, we had sex. Glorious, post-breakup, revenge sex on a beach kind of sex. Let me tell you, I now have a very detailed idea of what heaven feels like. There were stars, ocean breeze, and at one point I swear I briefly met God, and he just nodded like, yeah, son, you earned this. It was passionate, dramatic, like a Nicholas Sparks novel had a love child with an adult film. Would I do it again? In a heartbeat. Would I recommend it? Only if you've recently survived betrayal, consumed 3 mojitos, and are legally allowed to operate a hammock. 10 out of 10. Michelin star performance. Honestly, I should have sent Owen a thank you card. Gabriella later told me that Owen texted her after your confrontation. Told her not to go on that bachelor trip. I blinked. Why? I thought nothing was supposed to happen between any of us. Exactly, she said, sipping her latte. When I asked him that, he couldn't give me a straight answer. Sounded panicked. Like he knew just how inappropriate their trip was, but thought you'd roll over and take it. Spoiler, I didn't roll. My mom, God bless her eternally optimistic soul, kept pushing for reconciliation. All couples have disagreements, she'd say, like Delilah forgetting to order fries was in the same category as emotional sabotage and a potential brother-in-law betrayal plot. But once I sat her down and actually walked her through the full situation, like a PowerPoint presentation, complete with bullet points and dramatic reenactments, she just sat back, blinked twice, and said, "Oh, yeah, you definitely dodged a bullet. Maybe a whole firing squad. Thank you, mother. Welcome to the party." The last text I got from Delilah was about 2 weeks ago. Real masterpiece. It said, "I hope you're happy. You ruined everything over your stupid ego." No hi. No punctuation, just straight-up Hallmark-level bitterness. I didn't respond. What was I supposed to say? Thanks for the unsolicited guilt trip. Hope Owen's beard oil makes up for the betrayal? Nah, there was nothing to say. She still didn't get it. Still thought this was about ego or jealousy instead of, basic human decency and the radical concept of not planning vacations with your boyfriend's brother. Owen even reached out once, about a month after they went official. "Hey man, I know things ended badly, but I want you to know nothing happened in Vegas. We only got together after you guys broke up." I actually laughed out loud. Like, real laugh. Snorted water through my nose kind of laugh. Did this man really think I was that stupid? That I'd just pat him on the back and go, "Oh well, in that case, bro code restored." I just replied, "Me? Congratulations. You two deserve each other." And they do. They really, really do. Two people who treat boundaries like vague suggestions, who prefer emotional manipulation over actual conversations, who treat relationships like personal convenience stores, grab what you want, ignore the rules, and leave when it's no longer fun. They're perfect for each other. I mean it. A chaotic little match made in gaslighting heaven. As for me, I'm good. I heard from mutual friends that their big Vegas trip never even happened. Apparently after our little confrontation, Owen suddenly couldn't get the time off work. Oh, the irony. Guess the trip wasn't that important once there might be actual consequences. Looking back now, I've got to say, thank God Delilah showed me who she really was before we got married. Seriously, can you imagine the paperwork? Divorce attorneys? Splitting up the houseplants and Netflix profiles like it's a hostage negotiation? No thanks. Bullet dodged. More like a missile, actually. And you know what? I learned something crucial. When someone shows you they don't respect you, believe them. The first time. Not after the third emotional manipulation or the spontaneous girls' trip to Vegas with your brother. First sign. That's your exit cue, champ. Fast forward to now. I moved in with Gabriella about 6 months into dating her. Yes, that Gabriella, tiny bikinis, devil-may-care attitude, laugh that could melt steel beams. I thought I was just shacking up with the hottest woman I'd ever seen. Turns out, I was shacking up with the hottest multimillionaire I'd ever seen. Yeah, she was filthy rich. Like, casually orders wine that costs more than my first car, kind of rich. I found out when she told me her condo was actually a 3-story penthouse with a private elevator and a butler named Ramesh who makes pancakes shaped like zoo animals. And then, get this, she proposed to me. Got down on one knee in the middle of a private beach dinner in Bali, while a string quartet played Coldplay. She held out a ring, smiled up at me, and said, "Asher, you beautiful idiot, will you marry me?" I blinked. Is this a prank? Did you hide a camera crew in the palm trees? Nope, she said. But I did bring a prenup. It's fair, I swear. Just in case you ever get famous for those Twitter rants. She handed it to me right there. And honestly, it was fair. No tricks, no fine print saying I had to surrender a kidney. Just basic mutual protection. I signed it the next morning, right after room service brought banana crepes. And now, we're getting married in 3 months. Oh, and the icing on the diamond-encrusted cake? She bought me a car. Not just any car. A custom 1971 Dodge Challenger Hemi, midnight black, red leather interior, engine that roars like it's been possessed by the spirit of Vin Diesel himself. I posted a picture on Instagram. Me in shades, leaning against the car like I belonged in a Fast and Furious spin-off. Gabriella's kissing my cheek, her hair blowing in the wind like we're in a perfume ad. Caption, #blessed. Because sometimes, karma skips subtlety and just throws you the keys to a muscle car. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.